Hey, welcome back in. Ian Furness with you, Sports Radio 950 KJR. And, we mentioned this last week when we had this guy on. And every time we do have him on, we get a nice response. Well, maybe nice isn't the right word. We get a response.
Not last week.
But
the Dre Greenlaw tackle at the goal line. I'm sure you got a great response.
Yeah, that was people weren't into it. But, during this whole time when we've got the no sports actually taking place, although we'll get into baseball perhaps coming back in a second, and it's funny, after the draft, I was driving home on that Saturday, and I called John Lund, who's with us, and who we worked together for a long time in Salt Lake, and we were just talking about different things to do and how we're going to have to kind of get creative in our world. And one of the things is big now, like everyone in the world, everyone has a podcast, don't they? Like everyone's got a podcast out there. Yeah. I mean, we have them, but we call them radio shows, and then they put them up as a podcast later.
I know. It doesn't work.
So, we can't really have our own podcast, but a lot of those podcasts, just guys just kind of BSing and having fun. And, when I call John or vice versa, we're on the phone for usually like an hour just talking, right? And so I thought, well, let's do something with John and weekly, because being in the Bay Area, obviously with the Niners, and there's a common theme, and he's a West Coast guy. We can probably have some fun with this every week, so we're going to do that. But to do so, you kind of want to find somebody, and I want to just a big shout out to Todd Lothian, the guys at Cascade Ice, the men and women at Cascade Ice, local company here, John. I'll just give the website, CascadeIcewater.com. They got the original Cascade Ice Original with organic caffeine, 4 flavors, great flavors. You'll love them, with just the right amount of boost to get you through the day. Kevin Shockey, he swears by strawberry lemonade. I like the pink grapefruit myself, especially if I mix it with a little tequila, and which weird, that might actually take away the caffeine issue. But
you are unbelievable. I thought I was bad. This is good for you. Let's mix it with some booze. Good idea, though.
I'm
not against it.
I'm going to send some to you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Orange mango goes well with vodka in the morning if you need some. That's what it is.
Believe me. It's become airport rules, by the way. The one thing about COVID-19, you go to the airport and at like 6 o'clock in the morning, you got a flight, but you got to knock down a couple of Bloody Marys, especially because I think American, and there's one more, they're going to stop serving booze on domestic. Delta.
Yeah.
And they're going to stop going booze on domestic. So you've absolutely got to go to the airport early. But it's called airport rules. At 6 in the morning, you can drink, and nobody's really looking at you that weird. I mean, when I have a flask at the, when the show starts at 10, they look at me weird. But it's airport rules. So all the time, like my show ends at 2, about quarter of, I start going, because I'm at home, so I walk over to the bar. Get about a 10-minute head start. That's my happy hour.
And you've had to deal with Papa for
50.
You've had to deal with Papa for 3 hours and 45 minutes at that point, right? So
yeah, usually about 10:10, I start eyeing the bar. Like, do I have one now? Will I be too ripped by noon? Maybe I can make a small one.
There's no breathalyzer in radio. You're fine. You're good.
There's not. It's actually encouraged. Hey, loosen up a little bit.
Hey, got some fun. Well, big thanks to Cascade Ice Water, CascadeIcewater.com. They're bringing us this every week for the next 10 weeks. John and I will just kind of BS generally about a number of things out there. But you can find Cascade Ice in all your grocery stores locally, Fred Meyer, Safeway, QFC, Albertsons, Safeway, etc. So go check it out, CascadeIcewater.com. They have done a couple great sponsorships for us this season. It's good stuff, good product. Caffeine is in there, yes, but it's organic, sugar-free, calorie-free, gluten-free. So very good for you as far as that's concerned. So we love Cascade Ice, and we love Todd and those guys over there. So thank you so much. All right, so let's just kind of get into one thing. Baseball. You guys are you work for the home of the Giants. Mm-hmm. Are we jacked? Are we excited for baseball to come back, or what?
You know what I decided this morning? To me, it's like a hot dog. I just eat them. I don't want to know what's in it. It could be lips. It could be feet. It could be whatever it is. Just put the hot dog in the bun. Don't tell me how it's made, and let's just eat it. It's really good. I'll put the toppings on it. To me, that's what fans – now, look, media, that's completely different. But I'm sick and tired of whether it's – these are all good guys, but Ken Rosenthal, Bob Nightingale, Joel Sherman, all these different guys, I don't care anymore. I want to put my fan hat on. I want to sit in front of the TV. None of us can go, so throw that whole thing out. And I just want to watch baseball that wasn't from 1997 or 1972 or whatever. I just want to be a fan now. Okay, it's 60 games. I don't care about the finances. I don't care what happens after 2021. It's 60 games. So teams like the Giants or the Mariners might actually get hot. Who the hell knows? And they could actually get in the playoffs. Now, I'm upset that they didn't expand the playoffs. I would have let more teams would have been involved. Maybe it would have been more real. I know the Nationals wouldn't have gotten in the World Series. They were 19-31 after 50. I don't care. I want to sit in front of my TV. I want to watch baseball. And call me naive about it, but just I don't want to hear about labor negotiations anymore or millionaires and billionaires bitching about the last dime. I've had it.
I'm surprised that I guess maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but maybe disappointed is a better word in this entire process that it took us this long to get here, where it was finally a forced hand. And this was what was going to happen all the time, if you got to the end result. And in a pandemic, it feels like, I don't know what it's like for you guys down there. Like I kind of feel like with the pandemic, there's a lot of different emotions going on for people right now, and none of them are really positive, right? No one feels good when they wake up in the morning going, this is great. Like our life is awesome. Like, maybe some of the TV journalists out there that are thriving in the stories with the pandemic and all the other stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's some, but really most people wake up and like, there's a part of you that just kind of feels, man, this is just, there's no end in sight. We're just kind of, we're bummed out. We're bummed. And then, so like, my point is you go to the store, or you're walking the dog, or you're outside and what have you. And I kind of feel like the general public is trying to be nicer. Like everyone's just kind of like, hey, how you doing? I'll step out of your way. The mask versus non-mask thing's a different deal. But just like in general rules, right? People are kind of more accommodating. And yet baseball was as petty and stupid and selfish as ever.
That's a great point. It's so good. You're right, because what happens, I don't know, this may make no sense whatsoever, and it's coming from me, so it's probably
that's why we're doing this segment.
but it's almost like we're all going through something. They always say that, but in normal times, people don't care because you got 1,000 things going on. Well, everybody knows that everybody is teetering on the brink, right? Mm-hmm. So, like you said, whether it's a mask or whether it's during the school year where people had like homeschool and work and all. So we all know, we're very aware that everybody kind of feels like us. So we are a lot nicer. We are a lot better. And yeah, a key word through this whole thing has been optics of baseball.
Yeah.
But when have they ever cared before? Whenever they ever cared what anything looked like? The issue, and I'm going to fall back into it because I just want to watch baseball. But if they can't come to an agreement, I guess this thing's going to start, July 24th or something, if it gets approved and all the health issues, to September 27th. We're talking 2 months. Nobody in baseball. In football, Jerry Jones would have stepped up. In basketball, there's a number of owners, Mark Cuban, others, I think, would have stepped up. Nobody in baseball. They don't have an ownership group in baseball who could have stepped up to a commissioner who works for the owners and said, stop it. This is stupid. The numbers, I don't know if they're exactly right, but Buster Olney came out and said the difference between the 60 games that the owners wanted and the 70 games the players wanted was $245 total million. In business, you meet in the middle. So let's say it's 65, 66 games. Okay, cut that. So cut the 245 in half. Math is not my strong suit, but stay with me. $120 million. There are 30 owners. They average about $2 billion of net worth. That's $4 million an owner or a really bad reliever. And they didn't want to lose. They are so competitive publicly that the owners couldn't pay $4 million per team, a bad reliever salary, to just make baseball work, hit the mid-level. Then we could have had whatever you think of the universal DH, but it would have been in for 2 years. Postseason money for everybody. That's where you don't pay the players, so everybody gets the windfall of the postseason money, and you get expanded playoffs. So fans in like places like Seattle and San Francisco, who teams probably don't have a chance, may stay in the race a little bit longer. Over $4 million a team. Now look, it's not my $4 million. I get it, but the point is that they can't come to an agreement over a 2-month, 8-week period to play baseball. It's pathetic.
It's weird. What's weird, John Lund joining me here, and Will every week, Cascade Ice Water bringing you, John, and we'll do these on Tuesdays for the next 10 weeks. I think you mentioned the ownership, because we've talked about that a lot on our show, is like who is Jerry Jones? Who is Robert Kraft, right? I mean, who are the Rooneys? Like, and there doesn't seem to be any face behind ownership in baseball, any true leadership. And, Rob Manfred gets beat up and probably justifiably so at times, but boy, I think if there was ever a puppet commissioner, it's this guy. I mean, he has no juice. I mean, you kind of look around and the commissioners in baseball, and Goodell obviously goes. I mean, I'll give it Goodell a little bit of credit. I mean, he's slapped the hand of Robert Kraft before, and I think Goodell's been there long enough. He has a little bit of juice. Adam Silver, I think he's kind of had an up and down, hot and cold year with the China stuff last year, and then obviously, he's had it up and he's not David Stern yet, and thank God for that here in Seattle. But that's not. I think Bettman's got a ton of juice. I mean, I think Bettman. I mean, I told the story last week when we went down for the awarding of the franchise for the NHL. Man, that little man runs the show. Like he is flat out
He's
in
changed
charge.
though. He used to be I was in Detroit when they canceled the season.
Oh, that's
and he
right.
came
Yeah.
on, and he just flat out was in over his head. But you can evolve as a commissioner. I think he
Right.
used to be. I think he used to be where Manfred is, and then he kind of learned on the job. I agree with you. Look, Goodell gets a lot of grief. He's a damn good commissioner. Has made the owners a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, the problem with a commissioner is you eventually work for the owners, so you got to try to play both sides of the fence, and that's tough. He's really looked bad, but if he had any balls whatsoever at some point, despite the fact that he works for the owners, as a commissioner, one of your jobs and beyond making money, okay, let's be realistic. Beyond making money, I think your key job is you're the gatekeeper for the sport.
Yeah.
So at some point, Rob Manfred has got to say, I got to risk it here because my legacy is going to be garbage. Guys, we got to play ball. Like someone has to. Goodell would have done that. Roger Goodell would have done that. I think Adam Silver would have done that. I think Gary Bettman would have done that. You're the gatekeeper of the game, and he looked weak through most of it.
Well, you look at the other commissioners. I mean, their process right now is, come hell or high water, we're going to have, our sport's going to get on either on the ice, on the court, or on the field in the fall. And, I mean, whether all those things come to fruition or not remains to be seen. But yeah, I mean, that's like their priority. Baseball's priority was fighting over, as you said, the pittance of a left-hander coming out of the bullpen for one inning.
Seriously, it's ridiculous. It's like I have to win. I have to win this. Dude, it's 8 weeks. Who cares?
And God,
take longer yacht vacations.
Think about how they could have owned July. I mean, like, because
July
usually
4th. Could you imagine?
Well,
like
that's
July
what
4th. You would have been there.
I'll put you on the. I'm going to put you. I'm going to put you on the spot because one of the times we talked, you told me you had people telling you that July 4th has been the target date all along, right?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. And then I heard later, as this kind of got going, July 4th, July 8th, maybe at the latest. But yeah, they wanted the whole thing. They would have had sports to themselves. The NBA isn't coming back. Well, they're going to have the testing today in the NBA, so that's going to be an interesting thing. But they wanted it all to themselves, July 4th, and that would have been the comeback. That's what they wanted to do.
And usually by the time you get to July, I don't know. I mean, you guys have a different market because you have two baseball teams. But I mean, for us in Seattle, oftentimes you get to July and it's pretty much over. Like it's over. Like they're 25 games behind the Astros, and so far they've gone like 3-10 against the Astros, right? I mean, you're done. It's okay. So you're out. And you're just like, when does NFL training camp begin? Well, now you could have had that entire month where you just owned it and eyeballs on TVs every night. I'm with you, though. I want baseball. I just give me the background noise at night. The games will mean more. I mean, at least for a while. Right. And then hopefully that it's a bridge if your team isn't in it. Hopefully it's a bridge through August and we see some form of football this fall.
Well, I would imagine it again. I would throw this out to your listeners because I really think that through this, there's been so much written about what it looks like and how bad it is. And yeah, everybody's just trying to get by and millionaires and billionaires fighting. But at the end of the day, I think people just want to see ball.
Yeah.
They want to see baseball and they'll forget about it. That's how we are. Okay. Yeah. You had all these issues and yeah, the optics of it didn't look good, but once the first pitch is thrown, the numbers are going to be massive. And as you just pointed out, instead of 162, and we've always complained that it was too many games. Now 60 is too few, but at least you're going to get games that matter. What is it, like 3 for 1 almost for every single game that you played? Look, there's going to be a team's going to slip in that shouldn't have. A team that was supposed to be good's not. A key injury. Who's going to sit out? I mean, this is pretty ultimate soap opera kind of stuff over 60 games. It's going to end up over, 2 months, 8 weeks, whatever it's going to be, to actually be one of the most interesting baseball seasons in history. It may not be right, and there may be an asterisk by whoever wins the World Series, but it's going to be exciting. And usually in baseball, you don't start paying attention until after the All-Star break anyway.
John Lund with me. I'm going to get to our story about some thoughts on the last dance of the Bulls in a second. A locker room you covered in 97, 98. Before I get to that, real quick, are the Niners on the list for Jamal Adams? Are you part of the cool kids list or not?
No, they're part of the list, but the issue becomes they couldn't re-sign him. They've got to re-sign George Kittle, Trent Williams, Richard Sherman. K'Wan Williams. I mean, you go down the line.
Sherm will work with you guys. Don't worry
I'm
about
sure.
that.
Yeah, he'll give him a nice. No, they don't have the space. They would like to. I mean, their safeties are pretty good. Jimmy Ward, Jaquaski Tart. They're not screaming for that position, but they don't have the finances to do it. Kittle's going to reset the tight end market. It's going to be ridiculous.
He's going to break the bank, isn't he?
Right. So they've got that, and then they traded for Trent Williams after Joe Staley retired, and he's on a 1-year deal. He played with Shanahan in Washington, so they like each other, but he's not going to take a discount. So yeah, it'd be nice. I think a lot of teams would like Jamal Adams, but they don't have the finances to make it work.
Oh, we've got it here. Seattle's all. I mean, everyone's all in. Yeah, trade every draft pick from now.
Anytime anybody comes free, it's like every fan base is like, we want that guy. But that's fine. But
that's good to hear. We're not.
Side.
It's good. See, I try to point that out. We're not the same. But I mean,
people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear the business side. Get it done. We pay a lot for tickets. Get it done.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I don't care. Draft picks mean nothing to me. You know, John Schneider, he savors it.
So you don't have them.
But he likes draft picks more than he likes his kids. I think sometimes, man, he'll start with 4, end up with 10. I mean, that's how he operates. All right, I want to get to this because we teased it last week. So Last Dance is on, and for people, John and I met in Salt Lake, and when we met in Salt Lake, we were working at 1320 K-Fan, which no longer exists, probably because I don't know, we're not there anymore, or Lock ran into the ground, one or the other.
That's it.
But we worked there together. They were the flagship for the Jazz, and I remember I got there to do hockey play-by-play, and then hockey season ends, and it's like all hands on deck. We're all covering stuff. I'm doing a show from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and stuff. Like literally just call in, Jazz rule. They're the greatest team ever. All right, you're next up on 1320 K-Fan.
That was the easiest job ever. Honestly, we were stealing. They didn't pay us anything, but we were stealing whatever they paid us.
Kevin from West Jordan, you're on. Love the Jazz. Stockton's the greatest player ever. That's what we did. That's all we did to field the phone calls. But you covered the series. You covered, and you had probably one of the best views of the shot, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, the thing is as I was watching that whole thing, first, I'll just because you said I had one of the best views, I'll never forget what happened in that locker room was there's guys like Steve Kerr, the Warriors coach now, and Judd Bushler and all these kind of like the average Bulls, and they were partying in the locker room. And then you look back, and this is when you knew it was the end. Jordan was in a separate room with like Leonardo DiCaprio and Joe Montana and all these A-listers. And Scottie Pippen had his family, and Phil Jackson had his friends and family. And then, so they were not partying with the masses. The best thing though was I start walking, and this is like my second year in the business. I start walking, and I see, and there's Dennis Rodman in a towel, and Carmen Electra is sitting on his lap, and there's like 2 security guards there. And I'm not kidding you. I had a pair of headphones on, and Locke, he's screaming at me, "Who do you got? Who do you got? Who's up? Come on, let's go." And I'm frozen because I'm looking at Carmen Electra in this tiny little thing, and I'm just like, I've never seen anyone like this. Somebody literally had to shake me to go, "Dude, are you all right there?" Because there's so many people in the locker room, like they're bumping into me, and I'm staring at Carmen Electra going, "You've got to be kidding me." It was a circus. I love how that's
I love how that's your takeaway as opposed to did he push off or not? Did he push off or not?
Like
no.
That.
Hey, Carmen Electra.
I didn't ask anything like that.
Is she a tiny little thing? She's a small little thing, huh? She's
yeah. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I was trying to take a mental image because I knew I wouldn't. Women are not attracted to me. I don't know if you know that, but it was ridiculous. That's what I remember. I don't remember.
You married a fangirl. You married one of our fangirls in Portland, so they must be somewhat attracted to you. How's that going?
He divorced me.
Oh, that's right.
That went great. That was one of my many solid choices in life. A very nice financial decision. Let's go to California and get divorced. Bing. That's a great idea. Lifetime alimony. I've never heard of it.
Oh, God.
Wow.
With that series, though.
You should have broke me up, by the way, but whatever. You had chances.
Know.
You knew her. Go ahead. Sorry. I digress.
That series, how close should it have been? How close was it? Because, I mean, when you watch The Last Dance, it's like the Bulls were never challenged by anybody. Right. They're the greatest team in the history of man, and they were great. There's no doubt about it. But, up here in Seattle, I know a lot of people feel like the Sonics were really close besides, until they lost. And obviously 2 years in a row, the Jazz were right there as well. And that second year, kind of an aging Jazz team, I thought took them as far as they could go. And it's that one shot, a steal by Jordan against the mailman, which we all enjoyed.
That was it.
And then the shot.
What a great guy he is. The thing about it is that as they showed, and this was right in The Last Dance, they were falling apart. The one thing I was surprised they didn't show was Rodman went to Vegas. They did the big thing on Rodman to Vegas the year before, in '97. But in '98, he was going between every practice. They just said to heck with it. We're barely keeping this thing together with duct tape. So Rodman was going to Vegas between games. He wasn't part of the offense. Dude, rebound, defend Malone, be an irritant, go to Vegas. We don't care. You know, it was like a 45-minute flight. So if you're taking a jet, they never cared if he was at practice. I remember going to shoot arounds. He was never there. But the Jazz should have beat him. Maybe the Sonics should have. We had George Karl on. I'm sure you guys have too. You know, put the glove on early. You know, put him on earlier. Boy, he was upset. We had him on because he's an Oakland guy. He was one of many who did not like the way they were portrayed in that thing.
Well, I don't think
you have to disrespect every player that Jordan played against. I guess if you produced the thing, that's what happens. That's why Malone never went on the thing. I'm shocked Stockton did.
I am too.
Stockton would actually talk about that thing? No way.
I was stunned that John was on it. And yeah, Malone, he writes his own stories, as we all know. He told us how to write stories and what the narrative was when we were there.
Oh
Did he push off or not? You had a great look at it. You were baseline and staring right at it.
I got in a fight with Bob Costas like a week ago because he was on and we were talking about it. And he said, he was already going in that direction anyway. Look, I'm not saying they should have called it. It's Michael Jordan. They're not going to call it. But you got to say that what Brian Russell weighed? Probably 220, 225.
Yeah.
And he went flying. I know his momentum was going that way, but he got a little help. And then you gave Jordan a wide open jumper. Of course he's going to hit that.
Russell, I love Brian Russell, man. We used to have him on weekly in our news station over there in Salt Lake, and I would just needle him just for giggles, like didn't push off, and he just lose his collective mind, like to this day.
Well, he wouldn't go on the thing either.
No,
and the thing is that it was a Jordan vehicle, and so everything he did was positive. Those guys they didn't want to come on.
It's surprising.
Why would I go on?
Surprising he didn't go on because he was a Jordan guy. Jordan brought him to Washington and paid him, got him paid, and maybe just a kiss and a thank you. I don't know, but I mean, he got him paid in DC. But all right, well, we got a lot of stories to tell over the years, over the next few weeks. So I appreciate you doing this. We're gonna have some fun with this.
By the way, can I just say, I know this is on the radio, but we're doing this on Zoom as well. Yeah. You've really cleaned it up. I can't see your hair because you have a Gamecocks hat on.
Yeah,
I can make a crude comment, but I won't.
No, it's for the Holinsky. It's for the Holinsky family. That's my tribute to them.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
But the beard looks trim.
Yeah, I trimmed it up. I'm thinking about getting rid of it. I think it's about time. It's too gray.
Is it itchy?
Man. I know it's just gray. It's just
gray.
Mine
starts to grow in, and I'm done.
Yeah, it's just gray.
The gray starts sprouting out. Done.
I cleaned up for you. I've got that. I got the No Lie shirt on, the brewery out of Spokane. So yeah, I'm all in today. Yeah, I see you cleaned up too. You got the John Lund collection, the V-neck and the glasses.
That's all I wear. No, I got a haircut last week. They opened up where I am. They opened up places so you could get your haircut. And then in San Francisco, I think they're doing it on the 29th. But I don't know if you've had your haircut yet because you got the hat on. But the girl comes in. She puts one of those things on your head. I was hoping for a rectal thermometer, but no such luck. So she puts the thing. She puts the thing on my head, takes my temperature. I've got the mask on, and then she had one of those clear masks.
Yep.
Like a dentist has on, so he doesn't get spray from your mouth or something. So she's got that on the whole time, and it keeps like steaming up because when you're getting your haircut, they talk to you the whole time. I mean,
well, it looks like I can't tell that she couldn't see. Looks good.
I tried the back of my neck was just terrible. And so I tried one time to shave the back of my neck. It was all screwed up. I tried to cut some gray hairs out of my hair. She was just like, what did you do? She had to even the whole thing out. But yeah, if people haven't had a haircut yet.
We started. Yeah, we got him for about the last 2.5 weeks. So Kevin just got his too. That's a cheap shot at him. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Oh, come on.
That's wrong. All right, I better go. I'll talk to you next Tuesday. Have a great week. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks. See ya.